At Campos, roasting and serving coffee is first priority, but the food menu is definitely not an afterthought. As one of Australia's most beloved coffee companies, sourcing their artisan coffee beans from all over the world, this coffee crew fell in love with Utah and opened 2 restaurants, one in Salt Lake City and a more casual style concept at Park City Mountain Resort.
The menu at their Edison Street location in Salt Lake City is chef-driven, and it's packed with thoughtful ingredients. Everything from their breads to their sauces and fabulous French fries is made in-house. Campos, it's just not your ordinary coffee shop. They invite you to stop and stay a while, to be a part of the culture and community, sharing their love of food with you. You can try a unique coffee flight while you enjoy a traditional Aussie menu item like a Tim Tam or Vegemite. Or sink your teeth into any variety of their amazing toasts.
You know, Taste Utah, it's more than a typical food series.
Oh, that's right, Jame. It's about local flavor, from roots through unique, authentically Utah restaurants.
Oh, absolutely. It's the people, the places that make Utah a dining destination.
We love it because there's so much soil and earth to uncover, but still so many great Utah restaurants to savor.
Well, that's just it. We bring the stories and we spread the love.
The best thing about Utah, the views along the way, they're not bad either.
We're not afraid to get our hands just a little dirty.
Food is a necessity, but it's how we create it and share it and experience it together that really shapes our community.
You always have a seat at our table.
Are you ready to taste Utah? Jame, downtown Salt Lake City is so fun because there are all of these amazing side streets, and Edison Street has seen a resurgence in the last couple of years, thanks in part to a little coffee company named Campos.
Oh, Campos, we are lucky enough that this Australian company decided to call Utah home. I think they were inspired by Australian skiers in Park City. First coffee shop there, and now downtown Salt Lake.
Jame, let's go meet the Campos folks, should we?
Can't wait.
Let's do it.
Hey.
And then
Hi. I'm Jami.
Jami and Hillary, Katy. It's so nice to meet both of you. Welcome to Campos.
You know, and it's not like we haven't been here before, but we have not got to sit down with the director of operations. And you know, I think people forget that Campos is not only a coffee shop, a full roastery, but it's a full-service restaurant as well.
There's kind of a lot going on in this building, yeah. We'd love to show you every bit of it, but let's grab a seat if you want to, and we'll try a couple coffees, something to snack on.
We would love it.
Okay, awesome.
Lead the way.
Perfect. Follow
Thank you. Hillary, it is such a pleasure to sit down at kind of the community table at Campos, and I mean, there's so many things to dive into. Of course, we want to move through what's in front of us, the menu first.
I'm going to dive into this in the meantime.
Yeah. Okay. We're not going to make you stare at that before tasting it. Well, let's start with beverages. The Tim Tam milkshake, what do you think?
It's so good. Tim Tam is like a traditional Australian cook. I have an Australian friend, and so anytime he comes to Utah, he wants to come here. He needs the Tim Tam milkshake.
Really?
He just doesn't get Tim Tams here.
I know. We have Aussies come in and ask for extra Tim Tams, literally a plate of them beside them. I think it's just like a touch of home that they get to have here. Yeah,
Which is
that's
so
one
fun.
of our most popular items.
It's really good.
By far. I'm looking at a cappuccino here. This is my favorite. It's just a nice kind of almost introduction to coffee if people are just having espresso for the first time. So you soften it a little bit with some steamed milk, and then we dust a little bit of chocolate over it, so you get this nice little sweet aftertaste. And it's beautiful, which we all eat with our eyes.
Yes, we do.
You have in front of you one of my favorite things on the menu. This is what we call our coffee flight, the hot flight. And it's kind of a cool idea. So we take the same coffee bean.
Okay.
This is our
I can
Blade
actually
Runner.
read about it.
Yeah, we like to bring this out so you get like a nice little picture of where it came from, a little bit of information about the coffee, but then you get to try it prepared and extracted 3 different ways. So you have it pulled as an espresso here. This is our piccolo latte, which is basically just a smaller version. It's gonna have a little bit less milk than a larger one, so you still taste the coffee pretty well. And then this is done as drip.
Okay,
so this is
just
what we
straight
have on
up.
our
I'm gonna
drip
taste this
machine every
first.
day. Yeah,
Beautiful.
go for it.
Oh, wow.
Because first and foremost, Campos, would you say, is a coffee roastery, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, right off the bat, first and foremost, 100% 100% a coffee company. That being said, in a situation like this, we have this amazing space for people to come in and enjoy. We didn't want food to be an afterthought.
There's so much intention, and honestly, I would use the word perfection throughout the restaurant. Tell us about the menu.
Yeah. So we actually originally had it split out between breakfast and lunch, but it became clear pretty quickly that half the time people can't decide which one they want
Sometimes
and why I limit
sometimes
that.
you want lunch. Sometimes when I'm with Jamie, she wants breakfast.
Yeah.
Maybe I want lunch.
Yeah,
And then
I
share.
personally want breakfast all day long. So this may have been a selfish decision on my part. But
Love it.
Yeah, so now we've kind of molded it together. So you've got your breakfast items all day, but then you can definitely get into the heartier things like the burger that you have there. A huge part of our company is wholesale business. So we roast the beans and then we sell to other cafes. And
Oh, interesting.
we train their staff, we help them find the perfect equipment. And then a big part of that business is being able to bring them in and show them what we're doing, right? So if I'm approaching someone and they're wondering why they should serve Campos coffee in their coffee shop, I get to bring them in a space like this. And so not only, they're gonna taste it the way that we make it, but this just adds to the full experience and can maybe inspire what kind of concept they're looking for. So it's nice to have the two different models. If someone's looking to open a business, we can take them, show them our Park City Cafe and what that kind of corner store shop is looking like, or if they want to go a little bit grander scale, we can bring them here. I think it's nice for potential cafe owners to be able to visualize the different concepts and kind of decide what's going to work for them. You know what I mean?
I mean, it really does seem like there's a bit of a culture, right? I mean, yes, there's a coffee culture, but it seems like Campos has really found something special.
The core of this company really comes down to a phrase that we like to say is quality coffee cultivated from good. And what we mean by cultivated from good is always making sure that we leave the world a better place than when we found it. And that goes into every aspect of this company as well. We talk about making sure that everyone involved feels valued and fulfilled. And this is all stemming from Will. Basically that that can be anyone from the farmers to the delivery guy bringing us our beans, to the guests, to the barista making it, but that everyone can take something away from Campos and what we're doing and be able to take that home and pass that love and energy on to their families. So Will, his story is he was not necessarily a coffee guy, didn't come from that industry, but he went into a cafe in Newtown, Australia, and somebody made him this beautiful cup of coffee. He took a sip of it and he can still remember that minute to this day where he says that coffee is the one that changed his life, changed the direction that he was heading. He sipped that coffee and immediately was like, this is what I want to do.
Wow.
This is what I want to provide for other people, is this moment where it was just this aha. So he founded Campos in 2002 and it started just with him behind a machine and has now grown to, I want to say we have 7 or 8 cafes in Australia. They have about 500 wholesale accounts throughout the country. Utah has a big Australian culture already, just based off the ski tourism. Okay. So there's a huge there's a big ski community in Australia. There was already a little bit of a home base with the Australian population. Selfishly, he gets to have Campos coffee when he's here. So
Good. He's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, bring it over here so I can have it when I ski.
yeah, absolutely.
Other than Utah, there are no other Campos restaurants in the U.S.
Nope.
Like, that's
Nope.
incredible.
We're the
that
only
Utah
ones.
got to be this lucky.
Yeah.
Thanks to our great snow.
I know.
Yes,
I mean,
did it.
we have so much to thank our snow for. Campos is definitely one of those things. Hillary, this has just been such a pleasure to sit and chat with you. I know one of the things we love to do before we maybe hit up the roastery would be to go have a conversation in the kitchen with your chef.
Absolutely. She loves it. She loves the camera. Let's go back and chat with Amanda a little bit, yeah?
Love it.
Perfect.
Chef Amanda, hi. I'm Katie. This is
Hi.
Jamie.
This
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, we're so excited to be back in your kitchen at Campos.
So I'm making one of our seasonal toasts that we have on the menu. We change up our menu about 4 times a year. So since it's fall, we have lovely fresh figs in season. We have a fig and ricotta toast.
Fig and ricotta, so it's almost
Yes.
like a sweet toast.
Yeah, a little bit sweet, a little bit savory. I kind of like to toe the line between the two.
What do you think?
I like it. It sounds so good. And toast and coffee, it's kind of a thing. I love
Yeah.
it.
And a nice
Wait,
light.
what?
We like to offer light options too for people who just want a little bite and not ruin their day and not too heavy for breakfast. So this is a nice, great light alternative.
And your toast is so great. What kind of bread are you using?
So we bake all of our sourdough in-house.
Okay, so sourdough.
Sourdough.
Love it. And it's not like this thick, huge chunk of toast. It really is like proper toast.
Proper toast, we
Good slice.
bake it, we cut it, we see this process through all the way. We have our sourdough toast that we toast on our flat top with a little butter. And then we have some ricotta cheese that we mixed with a little orange zest for a little brightness.
Ricotta is like not quite as rich as like a cream cheese or a mascarpone, but
And it's a nice neutral base. It kind of adds that savory element that you want. And I like to do a couple different cuts for some texture in there. We have a little quinoa crunch. So this is puffed quinoa that we've mixed with a little rosemary, Marcona almonds, and a honeycomb sugar mixture. So it's just maple syrup, brown sugar, and then baking soda.
could I try a little bit?
Absolutely.
That's like a detail
I just
you
want to.
wouldn't even realize what
Yeah.
goes into this. So do you toast the quinoa to get it puffed?
No, we buy it puffed.
Okay.
It's quite a process to get it to that
Okay.
state. So it's a little
So
easier.
good.
But it's almost like a
sweet.
little candy.
Nutty, yeah.
Yeah, sweet, nutty, and then a little bit of rosemary in there because even if
that's
I'm
the
making
savory.
dessert, I like some herbal.
Yeah,
That
well
is
said.
what that savory is.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I'm like, there's something unique. Whoops.
And then this is a little bit of honey. We actually have beehives on our roof.
No way.
What?
Guys, the coolest.
So we did harvest this honey in-house.
This is Campos honey.
Campos honey.
Oh,
Little drizzle on top. Again, a little bit of salt because you have to balance it out.
love it.
We get microgreens from Pomona Produce, which is a local company, and just a nice little garnishment on there.
I think something that stood out as you were preparing this is that you do like to interact with guests. Some chefs really do like to kind of tuck away and just do their own thing, but
I have my days, but
you're a little bit of a
Definitely.
y'all. Yeah, I love that because
Yeah.
something that I know Katie has always mentioned is that, you know, a chef really puts the love in the food, and for you, you kind of can see who you might be serving, and
Yeah.
I don't know,
and
just
it makes
connect a little more.
difference. Yeah, it makes a difference when we can look at a table and see them and see what they're getting, see their reactions. They can come up to the kitchen and say, hey, that was great, or hey, you know, what are you doing back there? You know, what's kind of going on? Are you making bread back there? We see someone with dough. So it's nice to have that interaction for the guests to see that we're really putting the love and putting the whole process into everything.
Got nothing to hide. One
Yeah.
thing that I think both Jamie and I would love to acknowledge is just a female chef in the kitchen, which
Hey,
is
girl.
so extraordinary.
It really
talk,
is.
talk to us a little bit about that. What has been your experience in the kitchen and how it feels to be in this position in the kitchen?
I've gotten really lucky throughout my career. I've worked with a lot of chefs who didn't really care about my gender, which is great. And I've been able to feel empowered the entire time. And that's what I want my staff to feel, knowing that I got that in the kitchens that I worked in. So I definitely want anyone who works for me, male, female, any background, I want them to feel empowered. I always make sure when we do a menu change that people are submitting ideas. My line cooks are submitting ideas.
It's really nice, the input,
yeah.
the team.
Yeah, I can't do it
connection,
alone.
group effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, Chef, this has been an amazing time for us to spend
Awesome.
with you and just show off all of your intentionality and just you're an excellent, exquisite person.
Thank you.
You just made toast glorious for us. Thank you.
Good, I'm glad you enjoyed
We'll
it.
just leave this half
Yes.
with you. We'll take this half for us and we'll go over
Yeah,
to the
go
roastery.
try it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
perfect.
Hi, AJ.
Hello.
Hi, AJ.
What are you up to back here in the roastery?
I am just finishing up for the day. I've been roasting
You've been roasting all day.
all day. We start with green coffee beans that come in looking like this.
Okay.
Little critters.
Yeah, these look like not the coffee beans that we know and love.
Yeah. Can we smell them? They just kind of smell really basic, nowhere near the roasted.
Kind of
product.
grainy,
Yeah.
grassy. Yeah. And this is how they come out. These beans are from Kenya.
From Kenya.
They go through this machine. This is a Loring S35 Kestrel.
Nice.
That just rolled off your tongue. It sounds important.
Yeah.
And it's big.
Yes, it roasts 35 kilos or about 77 pounds at a
So
time.
you're putting the beans in the top, and then they're roasting for,
About 12 to 15 minutes.
okay.
Is Campos known for sort of a lighter roast, a darker roast? Do you do it all?
We do it all. I believe that some coffee tastes better light, some coffee tastes better dark.
It kind of has its own,
Yeah, it has its own profile.
Yeah.
Not all coffees are created equally.
yeah.
And,
probably all beans are kind of different too, right? You get a bean
100%.
in and you just go on to explore a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how do you decide? Are you
that's a good
testing all the
question.
time? Or are you like, oh, that Nicaraguan should have been lighter? Or
Yeah, a lot of that. A lot of my day is R&D and quality control. So we spend a lot of time tasting and a lot of dialogue between myself, Ricky, our head trainer, and the sales team out in Seattle. So every week we'll be sending them samples, and also the guys back in Sydney.
What I'm dying to know, probably we're both dying to know, burning question. Does the caffeine still affect you after all of that?
that's a great question, actually.
I mean, yeah, it does in a very different way though. Like every morning I cup, 10 to 15 cups. And if I do any more than that, I tend to be anxious during the day and then struggle to sleep at night.
When you're
But-
talking about cupping, it's a very specific process. It's where you put these coffee grinds in, you steep them in water, and then you kind of break the crust and sip. Break the crust and sip.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's where you're being educated. That's where you're getting the feedback with how you roast it,
Yep.
what you might want to.
Yeah, so we put in, operating procedures and everything to, make sure that our roasts are consistent, but at the end of the day, the decision has to be made on the table. So if a coffee is just not up to par, then we'll just, we cut it, we pull it, and we'll start again.
AJ, the day has culminated in such an exciting event. I mean, we geek out about coffee because it is such a marriage of science and art and chemistry, but also nuance. And so you're going to taste us, let's say, roaster style on all of these, because this isn't like a traditional tasting, right?
Not necessarily. This is something that we will do sort of every day as a quality control.
Okay.
So all of these were roasted yesterday,
Whoa.
and we will essentially taste them to make sure that they're up to scratch and they're okay to release.
And there's a specific way we taste it, right?
The cupping process is kind of universal, so we know that us here and our counterparts in Australia, farmers in Kenya or Costa Rica are tasting the same way, so we all know that we're tasting the same products. For us, it's 10 grams in 170 mils of water, steep for 4 minutes, and then crack the crust, have a sniff, clean it up, let it cool down a little bit, and then taste away. So we'll just we'll start our timer.
Your timer
Excuse me.
is-
Okay, yeah, it's like we
Yes.
step back because
Yes.
this is like the maestro doing his thing.
And timing is fairly significant when it comes to actually brewing, right? Or even
Yeah,
the
for
cupping
sure.
process.
It's one variable
also-
you can control and should.
And this is something you're doing all the time.
Yep. So we'll cup at least once a day, if not twice.
Please.
This one is like my favorite.
Yeah, I like.
We can't get enough of it.
And then during this 4 minutes, typically, do you just like have a dance party?
No, we're generally very quiet when we cup. We have very strict rules back in Sydney about like perfumes, talking, all these things, because we're trying to get the most unbiased opinion of these coffees as possible. One for you, and when we hit 4, why don't you start at Blade Runner, and you do Kenya and Nicaragua, and I'll do these two here.
Perfect.
Okay,
All right.
go for it.
Okay.
Got it.
It's got this beautiful crema that comes to the top, though, which is really cool.
Yeah, which we're going to take away now.
Okay.
So essentially, we're just going to clean all that
look
sort
at
of.
that. I mean, this process is even more nuanced, I think, than what we've ever seen.
Yeah, I really love the technique, and you can tell, like AJ, just this really is thoughtful and careful.
It's meditative.
Tell us now how to taste as close to you would as possible to really
Okay.
gain nuance.
So I might start with the etiquette of cupping. Before you taste anything, please wash your spoon. And a little ding on the bottom indicates to everybody else that your spoon has gone into the
Can I
jug.
do it just right in here?
Yep.
Okay.
At this temperature, I would take a small little bowl like this, and I would give it a slurp. And at this point, I start writing notes. Depending on how I'm feeling that day, I'll either just go through, get my caffeine fix first, and then I'll start writing notes afterwards.
Okay, so just, I'm just gonna start.
Yep. That's it.
More of a slurp, but that's not too hot
Oh,
at all.
yum.
It's good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yum.
That's it. Oh, Kenny's so good.
I'm trying to keep my opinions to myself, but it's all really good. To be respectful of the process.
My favorite on this table is the Kenya AA, the Ringetto Karamakui. It's very it's really citrusy. There's a lot of blood orange, a lot of blackcurrant, and like dark chocolate.
I love it. The Costa Rica was also my favorite because it was, I think, more distinctive in that sort of bright cherry flavor than any of the others, but there was still elements of like a milk chocolate nuttiness that I really like in a
Still
coffee.
get coffee.
Yeah,
Almost
It's not
fudgy.
tea.
yeah, fudgy,
nice.
really well said. This is just such a treat, and just to sort of learn serious nature of tasting coffee, and that it really can be sort of this meditative, very intimate experience, which is so extraordinary, and it's very, very time consuming.
Yeah, I mean, but it's also well worth it. It's an awesome, it's the best way to start your day, first and foremost. But we take quality control really seriously here.
Yeah, you do.
And we don't want to send something out that we think is subpar. We'd rather catch it now, fix the problem. Part of our scoring system is left up to individual preference. I can't determine what everybody else in the market likes.
Yeah, and there is something for everyone, which
Yeah.
is really, really fun.
For sure.